Since '56, of course, when Baba had spoken of the planned East-West gathering, those who were close to him and had been put on the must list, of which I was one, that is, as Baba said, some of you must come to India. We had started to save very, very cautiously. And I had my motivation certainly was to go to India, but it was increasingly stronger not only to go there for this meeting with the Master, where he comes down to the human level, but to remain there for an indefinite period. I had prepared myself. I had become a nurse, a professional nurse, a registered nurse, and I had a very close relationship with Baba's disciple, Goher. Somehow Baba established this link. I recall how even in '52 he brought Goher and I together in a room once, and he looked at both of us in a very profound way, as if he were establishing a link there. And ever since then, Goher had always written to me for assistance in finding medical equipment or doing some medical research for her and the like. And so I always turned to her when I was making this endeavor to establish, to find employment in India, actually. Goher did her very best, and she enlisted the help of other people. Well, finally, it was even approved of by Baba. I was really thrilled when I did get Baba's approval. It came in a cable. It also came through letters. And Baba recommended, it was his recommendation that I come earlier. The opportunity then was afforded me, if I came earlier, to stay in the hometown of Dr. Hoshang Barucha, which was the village of Navsari. This was really an amazing experience for me, because the lovers of Baba of this small town were practically the entire village. And I had never witnessed anything like it before. There were scattered lovers in America, as we all know, but for an entire village to be so devoted to Baba was again a phenomenal thing for me to witness. And it was a tremendous contagion of love, increasing my own love, of course. They would have devotional bhajan singing every night, way, way into the night. Well, after 1 week of their of this most loving company, where I felt more at home than perhaps I had ever felt outside of my own home, we went on to Pune and arrived there again early, before the largest number of people were arriving by chartered plane. I immediately did get an appointment to see Baba. Baba had me ushered in at Guru Prasad and welcomed me in the usual way of, how did you sleep last night, and how did you enjoy your stay at Navsari, and what impressed you most? And he asked me again then questions of what my plans were. And always when Baba would ask you about what are your plans, there was always, I would get a great tickling sensation. It seemed so much like a game, because I really did have full conviction that Baba knew me in every possible way and knew everybody in the same way, both their past, present, and future. However, he enables us to answer him so that we are capable of growth in the way that he wants us to grow. I told Baba that I had brought all of my belongings and was hoping to stay there always. Baba, when I said that when Baba, who already knew my plans and had heard about them, you might say, for years, greeted me then, he said that I should confer with Sarosh and with one other disciple, because they were in touch with a certain hospital where I would be receiving my medical training. And as you know how Baba is capable of handling millions and trillions of details at one and the same time. That was just one of the details he was handling at this particular little interview. So I went out right away on the porch of Guru Prasad, and Sarosh spoke to me and the other disciple, and we had arrangements made that when the entire East-West gathering was over, that I would be taken to this particular hospital. At one time or another, Baba also had said, and seemed very amused, that I might get so sick that I myself would need a nurse. At this time, also, Baba had asked me about a certain young man there who was on drugs. I knew this young man from the States, and he was, I had earlier informed Dr. Goher that he was coming with a supply of drugs, in fact. And because of having been alerted to this, they were able to tell Baba, and now Baba asked me about this same young man. And he said that he would like me and Dr. Barucha to see that he was well. Since he was not taking the drugs, he might have certain withdrawal symptoms. And so he gave us that little job, which we, of course, attended to. Of course, the whole significance of this is that this was the era before the widespread use of the psychedelics and hashish and the rest, but it was just, it seemed that this young man was a sort of forerunner of what so many young people would do, because for his great love of Baba, and with Baba's grace indeed, he was able to give it up, never, never to return to it again. Baba had then, as I said, had a number of his disciples assist me in finally getting a placement in a maternity hospital. It was a very poor government hospital. It was a Parsi hospital. The period was during the Chinese invasion, so it was a particularly trying experience. Naturally, Baba, knowing just what I would go through, had asked me to write in great detail about my experience, what I thought of it, what was happening. And he would, during this period, fulfill a very, very great wish of mine. It seemed to me that ever since I had met any of his disciples in the West or in the East, I had always envied them very greatly in being able to follow Baba's orders. I just thought that really would simplify life. I had a very naive idea about what it is to follow Baba's orders. In any case, in his great mercy and love, he granted me this opportunity because while I stayed at the Wadia Maternity Hospital, Baba did send me many orders, actually. He told me what to eat, for one thing. He told me that I certainly should try to get to the Monday night meetings in Bombay. He told me which families to visit. He told me not to travel by taxi cabs. These orders sometimes even came by way of a cable. I found those particular orders very easy to follow. They were all to my very great benefit and to my very great enjoyment. Undoubtedly, there were many orders that I was unable to follow, that I wasn't even aware of, but the specific written out orders I think I followed with some satisfaction, as Baba did indicate in a letter that he dictated that was eventually printed about me in one of the family letters. Well, after a couple of months after Baba had received one of my letters, which he had requested that I sent, he felt I should make efforts to remove myself from that hospital and go to a more modern and a better teaching institution, because I was also learning how to do midwifery. Baba's exact order to me was that he felt I should leave that hospital only when I got another post, and he designated one of the disciples to help me. Well, I did get another post in a much better European-run hospital, actually, and then received a telegram from Baba, letters from Baba, saying that it was he was very proud that I followed his order to his satisfaction. It was just about this time in December that it was Meher's birthday, and that all the devotees, the lovers of Bombay and other areas, were invited to Meher's birthday, and I was invited. In fact, this was one of the reasons I came to India, to be able to draw closer to Baba and his people. One of the great handicaps proved to be that in the contract that I had signed at the previous hospital and also at this hospital, long visits were not permitted. Therefore, I had to refuse and was unable to accept the invitation to Meher's birthday. I realized that I had reached a really important milestone in this whole test trial period of my stay in India. The very fact was that I was unable to come when Baba had asked me to come. Soon after this, Baba said it would be very important for me to set aside a particular day in January and come to Meherazad. Well, I was able to manage to come on that day in January, and it was, of course, a very important day in my entire life. That was in January of 1963 that I drove into Meherazad with Adi Irani, who had picked me up, and Baba was there, his own glorious and radiating self that I was able to embrace. And I also was permitted to touch his feet. Baba said that I should touch his feet. He actually pointed me to his feet, and this was a very great fulfillment of a wish, too, because while I was serving in the hospitals in Bombay, my attention was very often drawn to the feet of the patients. In one way or another was handling their feet, and one would naturally identify, think of Baba immediately. Baba has told us that the feet are the holiest part of the physical frame. They go through everything, they touch everything. And it was then a very wonderful privilege that Baba granted me, and pointed it out to all the Mandali present. Because at this particular time, Baba was not permitting anybody to touch his feet. And so he dictated on the board, as you see, I am permitting Adelel to touch my feet. And then after Baba had me seat myself and just fall into this incredible atmosphere where you feel bodiless and mindless, and you just feel at one with the heart of Baba somehow. Baba began asking me to speak, ask any questions that I wished. Actually, I have always found that I had nothing to ask in Baba's presence. I just didn't ask questions in his presence, and as I had customarily been like that, I said, I have nothing to ask, Baba. I just am so glad and so thankful to be here, or something to that effect. And Baba said, yes, but this is your day, and I would like you to ask questions. This is your day. I think on the whole, Baba allowed me to stay at Meherazad approximately 6 hours. So either I or Baba brought up certainly the fact that I had now found a new post, and again Baba commended me for following his order in getting the new post, and then only then leaving the old hospital. And he asked me how I liked it. The new post was in a Catholic institution, and there is a little amusing story here. Baba said, well, when you're there, these nuns and workers, they go to morning mass, don't they? And I said, I assume so. And Baba said, crimping up his face, he says, do you think you'll like that? And I, never having really gone to morning mass, I too was dubious, and I was really very amused. Well, then Baba went on to ask me things like he has asked others. Baba said, if I were to ask you, would you go naked in the street, would you do that? And I said, Baba, you would help me do it, and then I would. And then he immediately made the sign of approval to all the Mandali. He was very glad that I gave such an answer. I had, I might say, before going into Baba, been a little briefed by both Khorshid, who is one of the women Mandali, and Adi, to make sure, as I said before, Baba asked whether I had any questions. Now, I recall that most of my questions were started after Baba had explained that he felt I should return to America, and would I accept that? And I said immediately, yes, Baba. Baba was very pleased that I was that spontaneous. And he told the Mandali about that, and Baba made me feel very good and very noble by saying that I was very obedient. Then my questions started by way of Baba's eliciting them, and I said yes. I said, if I go back to America, where would I go? And Baba said, had you any plans? Where did you want to go? And I said, well, I had been working previously in New York, my home, and I had promised Phyllis that if I didn't remain in India, I would join her in California. And at that time, at that moment, Baba gave no reply. And then Baba asked me what work I would do, and I told Baba that I could do nursing work. I had also been trained in secretarial work, and Baba said, well, I think at this time Baba did say that I should take whatever work suited me. Then it was close to the luncheon time, and Baba said that I was invited to lunch with the girls, and he would see me after lunch. I was then at lunch with Meher and Mani and the other Eastern Mandali ladies in the home there. By the time I was ready to go to lunch, Baba had already eaten lunch, so that when I came in, I think it was Nadja, gave me a little plate with some of the remains of Baba's lunch. And as we know, Baba eats very little, very sparingly. But those precious morsels somehow just seemed to taste better than anything I had ever eaten in my life. Well, after a very wonderful lunch and the most cheerful company of these very exceptional women, I left with them. We took a lot of photographs, lovely photographs of Mehera and Mani and all of the women, and also some photographs of Baba and myself inside of the hall. Baba gave me prasad, which is the gift from the Master, and it is a very precious gift indeed that the Easterners and many of us Westerners have begun to appreciate. And it generally is eaten immediately in the presence of the Master. However, this prasad, which was held in Baba's two hands, was given to me to share with others when I returned to America. And it was part of what came into the direction that Baba sent me in a telegram, because in sharing his love I would naturally want to share the prasad. Before I did leave Bombay, Baba had sent me this telegram: "Take me with you and share my love with all who can receive it. My love to you, Baba." This was then my very last day with Baba. Finally, I would say, if anyone asked me what are some of the most important things I have learned in trying to follow Baba for 27 years. It can all be traced back perhaps to one of the first messages I ever received from Baba. Nothing is real but God. Let these words be inscribed in your heart. Nothing is real but God. Nothing matters but love for God. And out of that central core, I have increasingly become aware of the meaninglessness of everything but God, who is Meher Baba to me.